Now going to hand over to Raewyn Jones, who is the Chief Executive of Well Energy Trust and the co-chair of the Waikato Wellbeing Project. And I'm sure she's going to share with us a little bit around what the Waikato Wellbeing Project is. And she's also on the National Advisory Board for Impact Investment. So again, without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Raewyn. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora, kia ora everybody. Thank you for having me today. What wonderful speakers. Tamati reminded us that with the Sustainable Development Goals, we have to look locally, and it's going to take persistence and cooperation to get anywhere. And with Lucy, your powerful call for change, and Pedram, you're quite right. What gets measured gets done and managed. And that point about Te Ao Māori and the work, Te Ao Māori worldview in achieving our goals, it's just missing. And so what I'd like to share with you today is a very practical journey to see the change. How did the Waikato Wellbeing Project come into being? Why did we see that change needed to happen, and how are we using the Sustainable Development Goals to achieve that change? So I'm just, if it's all right, I'd like to share my screen with you. Okay. Right. Are we all seeing the Waikato Wellbeing Project first screen there? Wonderful. So the Waikato Wellbeing Project was born about 2 years ago. From a desire to take the Sustainable Development Goals, which I've been working with for some time in my role as a community funder, as Chief Executive Waikato, the Well Energy Trust, and to say, what do they mean for us? They can be seen as a little bit high level, sometimes even a bit third worldy, and how do you apply them? How do you make them meaningful for yourself as an individual, for your organization, for your community, and for your nation? So that was some thoughts that were going through my mind when I was working in my role as a funder. And I had the opportunity to learn about impact investment and the way that capital can be used to actually achieve these goals. So I realized that there's never going to be enough tax dollars to achieve our vision of a better future. There's never going to be enough rates dollars, and there will never be enough funding dollars unless every decision we make as a consumer, as an individual, as a citizen, as a corporation, as a local government and a central government, unless we're working together across sectors using all of our resources, we're going to have trouble achieving the goals that we're hoping to achieve. So those are some of the things that were behind the development of the Waikato Wellbeing Project. Essentially, the Waikato Wellbeing Project, oops, gone too far, go back one, is a regional initiative, so it's locally based, it's a place-based initiative for a more environmentally sustainable, prosperous and inclusive Waikato by 2030. So very simple, sounds easy. We hope to work together across sectors to achieve, and this is where Pedram's view about what gets measured gets managed, SMART goals, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely goals, which we can apply for our region and achieve together. We see the Waikato Wellbeing Project is offering a tool. It's nothing more than a tool, but to help people work together more to achieve regional priorities, things that we as a community say are important to us. And it's got to be multilateral, it's got to be partnership and linking with the Treaty of Waitangi and the aspirations of the people of Waikato. So we chose the Sustainable Development Goal Network framework to use for this project. And the reason we chose this is that it's a global and internationally recognized language. It's a common language that we can all use together for action. And this is a little story that I would like to share with you. For me personally, see the change, this is how it came about. So I was thinking about my funding role. I was thinking about impact investment and working across sectors in collaboration. And I was thinking about how do we apply Sustainable Development Goals locally. And I happened to have a holiday and to have the opportunity to go to Nepal. And in Nepal, I was flying from Kathmandu to Pokhara, where we were going to start some walking. And when I got on the plane, I saw on my boarding card that there was, it said a portion of my ticket price had gone towards these 3 Sustainable Development Goals, which are to achieve the Sustainable Development Targets for Nepal. And I thought, that's fabulous. I'm very pleased that my money is going towards something useful like this. And when I sat in my seat and looked in the pocket in front of me, I saw that what the gentleman there is holding, a little flyer. And on there, they've got these SDGs for Nepal. And they're very specific. For example, reducing stunting in kids from around 36% in 2015 to 15% in 2030. Well, I thought, wow, that's not a goal we would have in the Waikato, because childhood stuntedness is not a big issue here, but we have other issues. We have other aspirations. If Nepal can do it, why can't we do it in the Waikato? So we came home and colleagues from across various sectors said, why don't we do this? Why don't we work out what it is that's important to our communities and just talk with people and find out what's going on. And we decided that this is Aotearoa New Zealand, so we can't just take the Sustainable Development Goals off the shelf without putting through the middle the PO, which is SDG 17, Partnerships for the Goals. We interpreted that for ourselves to mean Te Ao Māori, partnership to achieve these goals. We also used a model here which was based on the Stockholm model. At the bottom we have the environment, because we know that a connected, vibrant community and a really prosperous economy are wholly owned subsidiaries of a healthy environment. So at the bottom, we've got the environmental goals, then the ones that are more community related, and then at the top, the economic development ones. There's a whole process that I'd love to share with you another time when I have more time about how we went about. There's a complicated map of how we went about finding these goals. But essentially, after over 12 months of consultation and talking at all levels. So we went into schools and we spoke to children in schools and young people and got them to draw pictures of what they wanted to achieve. We spoke in boardrooms. We put up stand-up signs and went into the middle of the city and allowed people to come and just talk to us about what they wanted to see and to give their feedback about what a sustainable Waikato means to them. And we came up with not 17, but 10 sustainable development goals for Waikato, which you can find on the Waikato Wellbeing Project website. And they are smart, but we've also interpreted them to say, what does that mean for us? So just to give you one example before I finish, one of the goals around quality education, decent work and economic growth, and reduced inequalities is to reduce the number of young people, 15 to 24, in Waikato, who are not in employment, education or training from 12.6% in 2019 to less than 5% by 2030. Now, to achieve that, we have to work across sectors. But if we do achieve that, all of our young people will be engaged and productive. They'll be learning and earning a livelihood. Their mana will be enhanced and they will have a positive pathway to many life options. So we have a vision, but also something measurable. And we're now at this stage where the Waikato Wellbeing Project is getting catalysed into action. And we've got groups working across those 10 goals. So we're hopeful that we will achieve the vision of a more sustainable, prosperous and inclusive Waikato by 2030. Thank you.
Tēnā koe, Raewyn. O tira, e mihi kaua tēnei ki a koe, mō i whakawātea nei a koe I tēnei ngā pō, ki te kauhau ki a tātou. Man, awesome model there in terms of taking you know, these SDGs aimed at a global audience and making it relevant to your local communities. I think it's a fantastic example of how linking in with what all of you guys have said tonight, speaking around making these partnerships, working together, working collaboratively and creating change. So tēnei te mihi ki a koe, Raewyn.